In the following video, Martin Dickey and his wife Jenny were both operating inside of their kitchen when something happened that took them both off guard. In the corner of his eye, Martin noticed that the cap for the jug of milk was moving on its own accord, but it was so surreal that he couldn't believe his own eyes. He took out his camera and began to film the incident when this happened.
Right, there's nothing touching this milk bottle at all. Oh my god. Oh my god. This empty milk bottle lid is moving on its own. That is up. Do it again. Come on. Come on. Yes! Yes! There it is!
What is it?
I don't know! I have no idea what that is. That is absolutely crazy. There's nothing on or around this bottle. Are you doing it for this?
How could I even do this?
Let's do it again. That is freaky stuff. Any more? Any more?
What do you think it is? Is it a ghost?
I can't work it out.
There's some air traps, isn't there? And there's probably some sort of duct that's pulling it up here.
Is that on though? The duct isn't
I don't
on.
know, I just can't imagine what else it would be.
It's kind of stopped now. We've got it though.
The cap continued to do its thing, moving as if it was being manhandled. Both of them tried their hardest to forge a logical solution, and Jenny came up with the idea that it was to do with the air above, although they both knew that this wouldn't have made this happen. Other than that, there are no real reasons other than the presence of a paranormal entity that I can get behind. The man in this next clip is called Jack, and he has featured in a large number of videos on my channel. This is because he has uploaded many haunted findings to his social media page on TikTok, and they are too good to not include. Jack experiences things of paranormal nature a lot because he collects antique items, and there is a direct correlation between these items and poltergeist activity. At first, things were okay for him, but as time went on, he slowly began to realize that something must have entered his house because odd stuff started happening, and the video that I am about to expose you to is when he managed to catch it all on camera.
Okay, I've just started filming because I fell asleep on the couch and woke up to what felt like somebody stroking the side of my face, which made me jump awake, but I don't know if it was a dream, but then the room is icy cold and the noises coming from the kitchen. Hello? Hello? Can you hear that? It's coming from outside, well, the kitchen there. Hello? Oh my god. The candlestick on the door's just bloody opened. What the hell? Hello? Oh my god. It makes you nervous to fall asleep on the couch, it really does. It's horrible. Is anybody out there? Shit! What the fuck? That's just hit my leg? What the fuck? Oh. Sophie, okay? The cat's just legged it as well. Oh my god. What is going on in here? What? It sounds like somebody sat down on the fucking chair. Fuck this, fuck off. I'm going in the garden. I'm not staying in here.
All sorts of things happened here, and I will give it to you non-believers. In isolation, these events could definitely have a natural cause, but when paired together, it would be too coincidental for them all to happen within a 3-minute time span. Furthermore, the fact that the room went cold also signals that there was a haunting presence there, and this is something that Jack is going to work on banishing from his home, so we wish him luck. Not many people can stay calm in the midst of ghostly activity, so we really have to give credit to the girl who filmed this video. Somehow she was able to stay really composed and give a clear narrative, despite how frightening the situation must have been, and I can admire that. The time was 3 p.m, and Chloe was with her sister in the kitchen when they noticed the spice rack spinning around without any visible force interacting with it. She started recording in hopes that it would continue, and sure enough, it did.
I think he's after some spices now.
He's in the fucking kitchen.
I think he's just having a look. Oh no! Oh! I think he's having a read of them.
Hello? Hello?
I think he's dropped a few spices. You might want to clean them up.
Not only did the spice rack keep on spinning, but the dustpan also decided it was going to have a mind of its own. It started to swing from left to right, and I am surprised Chloe stayed calm in this situation. She showed the clip to her parents when they rose from bed the next day, and they sent it to a local ghost hunter. They now have a date booked, and it is looking like the house will be cleansed. On a late night in France, a ghost hunter by the name of Duncan decided that he was going to explore a haunted house for his TikTok page. He loved exploring places of this sort and wasn't even in the industry for the money. We know this because he did these kinds of things way before starting social media, which showcases his real passion for the hobby of capturing ghosts on camera. Anyways, sticking to this expedition specifically, a family had passed away inside of the house 4 years prior, and Duncan had been hired by a new family to check for ghosts before they purchased it. This is one of his findings.
Oh, les 2K2. Regardez les amis. Les 2K2. Il marche lui? Non. Nom de Dieu. Oh, c'est un truc de fou. C'est quoi le délire? Est-ce que Serge, tu pourrais faire... allumer la lumière bleue, s'il te plaît? Peux-tu te rapprocher de la lumière bleue? Est-ce que tu peux faire un mouvement, s'il te plaît? Merci beaucoup, Serge. Wow, wow, wow. C'est quoi D'accord, Serge. Il y aurait quelqu'un ici? Est-ce que Serge, tu sais sortir la poupée? D'accord. Dis-moi, Serge. Est-ce que tu penses que j'ai ramené Gabi quelque part? Est-ce que tu...
Out of nowhere, the high vision jacket dropped from the wooden door and it started to shake, as if a real person had nudged or kicked it. This acted as a jump scare to Duncan, who was not expecting the poltergeist to show itself to him so soon, but after the initial scare, he was not frightened at all and continued his journey, later coming across this.
D'accord. Les amis, il y a un vrai souci. Incroyable. Qu'est-ce qui se passe, Serge? Est-ce que tu peux me ramener le ventilateur, Serge? Une dernière fois. Comme tu veux. Oh, c'est quoi ce bordel? C'est quoi ça? Wow! C'est quoi ce délire? Putain. C'est quoi le délire? Ok Serge, je crois que je vais te laisser tranquille en fait. Je vais pas t'embêter. J'aimerais juste te présenter quelqu'un. Alors les amis, le K2 il est amorphe. Il est amorphe le K2. Wow! Oh! Calme-toi! Ah non, non, Serge, non, non! Ah non! Non, Serge! Pas les appareils! Il y a du gaz à ces bombes, Serge!
Unlike the high vision jacket that fell from the door off camera, these items moved right in front of it, which confirmed to the audience that this was in fact real. Duncan added these videos to his evidence file for the family who were paying him a big fee for his work before leaving the home safely. Staying in a hotel is meant to be a good all-round experience, considering the fact that you have to pay your money in order to stay in one. Most of the time, this is the case, but sometimes hotels fail to provide this nice feeling, with the one in the next video coming under that category. However, it was not their fault. Dennis was staying in the hotel before a concert he was attending the next day when all of a sudden something odd caught his eye, which warranted him to take out his phone and start recording. This is what he managed to capture.
Okay, Lisa. Do you want to talk? Open the drawer if you want to communicate with me. Come on, Lisa. Lisa, do you want me to go away? Lisa, come on. Come on, Lisa. All right, what do you want to do? Lisa, come on. We can play this parlor game all day long, I suppose. Here, okay. Open the drawer. Lisa, you want to talk? Lisa, do you want to talk? Do you want me to go away?
We are grateful and proud of our purpose.
Come on, Lisa.
Now more than ever, home has meaning. Home is everything.
Come on, Lisa, talk to me. Show me. Okay, atta girl. Anything else I can help you with? Okay.
The drawer continued to open and close, and you are probably wondering how he knew the spirit's name was Lisa. Well, the history of the hotel dates back to the mid-1800s, when a woman called Lita was miserably killed by the people in the room next to hers. It is a story that the hotel is haunted by her, but most people believe it is a fake marketing scheme for the hotel to gain more customers, not Dennis. The following video took place inside of a wax museum, and if you do not know what one of those are, for some reason, I am here to explain. A wax museum is a place where historical figures are remade as identical statues, but instead of being forged in a traditional way, they are made from wax. The wax statue that you are about to see is one of nobody particularly significant, and resembles an elderly woman who was executed for supposedly being a witch. Whether she was a witch or not is unknown, but it is safe to say that the clip you are about to watch leads us to believe she was one.
¡Ay, hijo de güey, qué pedo! ¿Qué onda, amigo? No, amigo, no manejo nada de mecatrónica. Es una figura totalmente en cera. Mira, es una pieza total, rígida, no se puede manipular. Te digo, no tiene nada. Te digo, mira, te muestro. No hay cables, no hay nada, no es un robot. Es una figura totalmente en cera.
Strangely, the head of the statue turned whilst he was looking at it, and it was not supposed to do this. As I stated before, the statue was made out of no material other than wax, and it doesn't take a genius to know that wax cannot move. This must have been the act of a ghost, perhaps the witch's ghost of which the statue was supposed to resemble. Olivia Conkle and her boyfriend were pulling into the driveway one evening after a party when they noticed something terrifying behind their window. It is important to note that nobody they knew owned a key to the house, and furthermore, no one was supposed to be in there whilst they were gone. These things put together made it very difficult for the duo to believe this was anything other than a threat, and they were lucky enough to take out their camera in time. Have a watch. Some sort of mysterious figure could be seen behind the window, and this would be very threatening to anybody arriving home. Due to the bravery of Olivia's boyfriend, though, they came to the conclusion of not calling the police, and he walked inside, only to find nothing. A few days passed by in the house where nothing of a paranormal nature happened to either of them, but of course this did not last. It was only a matter of time before another clip was captured. Olivia was home alone when she heard scratching outside of her bedroom door, and she started to film so that she could show both social media and her boyfriend what was happening. Little did she know that something even worse would occur in front of the camera. Somehow, something pulled the cloak from the door, and it was obvious based on the movement that this was unhuman-like. On top of this, Olivia went to investigate the other rooms behind the door, and to her dismay, found nothing. This is when she started to believe that what they were experiencing was a haunting. There was still one more event that took place before they decided to take action, though.
Wait! There's legit no one in here, dude. No one is in here.
All around the house, strange things were happening, and it was very evident that the cause was not a human. Spirits ridiculed this house, and Olivia has recently gone to the local church seeking assistance. We wish them luck in the future. Louise was home alone one night waiting for her husband Michael to come home from work. She was getting rather frustrated because he had got stuck in a traffic jam, and she hated sleeping when she was the only one in the house due to some past experiences with break-ins, so she was forced to stay awake. When it got to roughly 10 p.m., she called her husband again to see if there was any progress in advancing through the traffic, but to her dismay, there was none. This is when Louise decided to record a short video explaining the situation to her friends to gain comfort from them, but roughly halfway through this happened.
Don't like it. I'm down. Fucking wake up. I hate it. Fucking bollocks. Fucking bollocks.
For some reason, the bottle of alcohol had a mind of its own and decided to start shaking on the table. Despite being scared, at first Louise was not frightened enough to flee the scene, but immediately after the bottle collapsed, she was certain that some form of entity was messing with it. She fled the house and visited her mother before sending the clip to Michael. He posted it online. Most people tend to be fearful and cowardly when it comes to encountering a spirit, but the man in the following video was the complete opposite and took absolute control of the situation. He was relaxing in his living room one day as calm as he could be and had just finished eating dinner when suddenly he noticed something. An item on the table beside him had supposedly moved on its own accord. Instead of being a coward and running away from the scene though, he filmed this.
Do it again. Move it again. Holy shit. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Holy shit. Look at that shit fucking camera, dude. Move it again. Keep it fucking quiet. I'm fucking a little bit freaked out.
As I said, this man was not a coward and took the complete amount of control in this scenario. He asked the ghost in a commanding voice to do it again several times, and to his fortune, the spirit listened. It goes to show that the way you carry both yourself and your voice makes a huge difference on how you are treated, even when it comes to ghosts. In the following video, Kyle, a student fresh into university and new to the living alone lifestyle, was relaxing in his flat when he started to hear some screams. When I say a scream, I mean the loudest and most excruciating scream you can imagine, and it terrified him. At first it sounded like the sound was coming from the outside out of concern. Kyle went to the window, and if he saw anything suspicious, he was going to call the police. Little did he know that he was about to find out that the noises were coming from within his own four walls.
I swear to God, there was like some... Shit! What the f*** is that? What the f*** is that? You gotta be kidding me! Who goes there? Who goes there? That shit cannot be real. What the fuck? You gotta be kidding me. What the fuck was that? You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be messing with me. I swear to God, this gotta be a joke. Whoever's in here, I command you to leave in the name of Jesus Christ. I ask you to leave now. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I got adrenaline going right through my body. What the f*** is that? Ah, shit! Shit! What the f***? Who goes there? You gotta be kidding me. Wasn't this shit close? Oh, oh shit. What the f*** is that? Guys, you gotta be kidding me. Oh shit! Fucking thing. Oh, I'm getting a headache badly. I'm getting a fucking headache badly. Oh, ah, shit! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! You gotta be kidding me! Oh, shit!
There is absolutely no word out there that would accurately describe how confused Kyle was by this event, because no matter where he looked in his house, the screaming girl could not be found. When he went into a certain room, it sounded as if she was right next to him, but of course, this was not the case. Around 10 minutes after the screaming stopped, the police arrived at Kyle's apartment and conducted a full search because all of his neighbors had reported it in fear that Kyle was harming people. But after showing them the video, they believed that he was innocent. But this was not the end. Kyle went about a week with nothing happening inside of his home, and he was starting to believe that the event was just a one-time phenomenon that he would be able to forget about and move on from. This was nothing but a wish though, because after this peaceful week, the poltergeist made another appearance.
What the Oh, What the What the Alexa! Stop the music! Alexa, stop! What the In the name of Jesus Christ, I ask you to leave this house right now. What the Who goes there? Somebody's in there, you better come out right now. I got a knife on me right now. Come out right now. Ah! In the name of Jesus Christ. I ask you to come out. Who's in here? Who's in here right now? You better come out.
This time, some demented laughter was used to lure Kyle into the screaming, and the neighbors were once again concerned. This time, the police gathered all sorts of evidence to try and prove that Kyle had done something evil to a woman that night. But no matter how much they scrounged the building, nothing was found. It is reassuring knowing that the forces cared this much, and equally as good that Kyle was not falsely prosecuted. On November the 30th of 2020, during the coronavirus pandemic, everybody was home alone, doing their own thing. The majority of people were completing their work from laptops or rotting away on their gaming consoles, but not Austin. In fact, he was rather bored. He was retired, so he had no job, and he knew about as much when it came to technology as you know about the engine of a Fiat 500, my point being nothing. However, he knew how to record, and that skill came in handy when something mysterious started happening inside of his house. The cupboard opened and closed continuously, and using his brain power, Austin knew to record the cupboard to make it evident that nothing was making this happen. He did a good job at this, and you would be a fool to claim that a visible force was acting upon this object, so that leaves one solution that you all know. This was a paranormal encounter. Austin sent the video to his family group chat, and it was posted to social media by one of his relatives. We have no updates, so all we can do is hope that Austin is okay. One thing that comes with social media is trends, and these things can go from harmless dances such as the Renegade to deadly and manipulative games like Blue Whale. Well, what if I told you that there was a small-scale trend on the internet called The Sky is Blue, and here is how it goes. It is a paranormal game where the person playing is supposed to recite the words to a poem and then pan the camera into a doorway. It was supposed that after panning into the doorway, you would see a face, whether it be clear or a faint image. And one day, a woman wanted to test that. This is how that went.
The sky is blue, and I see you.
The sky is blue, and I see you. The sky is blue, and I see you. The sky is blue, and I see you. The sky is blue, and I see you.
It took several attempts, and we have to admire how courageous she was for doing this. Her persistence must also be mentioned, because despite failing several times, she kept reciting the final lines of the poem. At the final doorway, something fell from the roof, and this not only frightened, but confused the woman. The trend was supposed to reveal a face, and not just a paranormal event, so it made no sense as to why the real thing didn't happen. But I guess life has many mysteries, and this is just one of them. Mark and Sarah both lived in a small house together and were finally in the stage of life that they wanted to be in. Sarah was pregnant with their first child. Mark had proposed to her, and they were both earning incomes, which made them more than stable when combined. It was the life they had both dreamed of having together, until they realized their rented house was likely haunted. Day in and day out, they would hear mysterious noises, and whenever they went to investigate, something would be different in the room, such as a misplaced ornament. Well, this time, something different happened when Mark went to investigate, and he was lucky enough to catch it on his camera.
I heard the noise again from back here. I heard the noise again from back here. Holy shit.
What? What is it?
Sarah, come look at this.
What?
Look at this. Look at the
The kitchen drawer slowly opened, and it was clear that nothing made this happen. Mark called Sarah to let her know what had happened, and she was really freaked out with the fact that something actually moved in front of his very own eyes. They needed to get out of this place, and it needed to be soon. Now, you've all heard of the term baby steps, right? It's when you take something one small step at a time, and after a long period, the progress will have gone far. However, have you heard of the term ladder steps? No, because it doesn't exist. That would be a silly saying, because ladders aren't able to walk as they're not human, right? Well, this roadside construction worker proved this statement incorrect when his ladder made a run for it. It may have walked away at the speed of a snail, but a walking ladder is insane nonetheless. The worker who captured this uses it as a claim to fame and tells the story to every new ally that he comes across. It is safe to say that he was relieved rather than terrified by the incident. For the final clip, we are delving back into the ghost hunts of the star of the show on this channel, Ian, also known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter. Ian has been hunting spirits for several years now, and calling him a professional in this field would be an understatement. The following video took place in a haunted manor local to his house that he thought he might as well visit for some content. His expectations of the manor were low, but due to it being such a nearby location, there would be no loss in visiting. It turned out to be the right decision, considering his goal was to be haunted.
Come towards you, okay? Whoa. I'm hearing like tapping sounds on the wall. Is that you, Susie? She literally just tapped on one of these coloring pages. It was like this. It was one of those. Susie, I heard you really like coloring. Is that true? If so, could you move one of these coloring pages? I see you got a whole coloring book here too. Is this your favorite color book? Oh my god! Oh my god! She just flipped the page! What the what did I just witness? She literally just flipped the page on that color book. I cannot believe what I just seen. I cannot believe that. Susie, did you just flip this page? Are these your favorite pages? I have got goosebumps on my goosebumps. Could you flip to another page? I'd like to see what else is in here.
It was clear that Susie's favorite coloring book was in fact that one, and she moved it in order to convey this. Now, unlike most spirits that have the intention of causing torment and suffering, for some reason, Susie seemed to just want company and taught Ian things about herself. This was on the least scary side of his encounters for certain. Malls or shopping centers are locations that tend to be darling with life and joy, but trust me, there is nothing more eerie than a closed one late at night. If you ask any mall security guard to describe their job in 3 words, the word creepy will more than likely be one of them, and the video that I am going to showcase is part of this reason. The time was 2 a.m. and a security officer was patrolling around the local shopping center, specifically a clothing store. To his fortune, there were no intruders, but there were certainly some suspicions. Have a watch.
Ni apagaron las luces.
No sé. No hay nada, literalmente ni nadie. Aquí en la tienda, ni en esta plaza, ni nada. Pero hay algo que me llama mucho la atención dentro de este lugar. Desde hace un rato ya he estado viendo cómo se mueve una prenda en específico. No sé si puedan verla. Qué pedo. No mames. Literal no hay nadie. Estoy aquí solo. Y vean cómo se mueve. Oh, no mames. Qué pedo. No mames. No mames, se apagaron todo. Y esta madre se sigue moviendo. Oh, no te pases de lanza. Ya me alejé, pero vean cómo se sigue moviendo esto.
For some mysterious reason, one of the t-shirts started waving without any sort of human interaction, and it was clear that no visible force was acting upon it. Furthermore, as if the incident wasn't already frightening enough, the lights turned off, and they were not scheduled to do so at all on that night. The security guard contacted the team and asked them if they did this, to which they stated that they did not. The following video took place in the room of Elias Samuel, and he was enjoying a nice and leisurely Sunday when all of a sudden a spirit decided to ruin it. Elias was watching the new episode of his favorite show on his mobile device and had been waiting months for it to release, and when it did, he watched it without any delay. He was ready to binge a minimum of 5 episodes, but to his dismay, a certain poltergeist had other ideas.
Amigos, tengo rato que escuché que me tocaron la puerta, pero yo pensé que era el señor que me renta. Pero no hay nadie, estoy solo y estoy viendo una película, pero algo como que me están tocando otra vez. No sé quién sea, tengo miedo de ir, pero no se ve nadie. No sé. Creo que tendré que dejar así porque yo no sé nada sobre este tipo de cosas. La verdad sí tengo miedo de todo esto que está pasando ahorita porque no sé cómo hacerle. ¿Qué hacer? Algo raro. No sé qué está pasando realmente. Esto no tenía por qué haberse movido. ¿Quién eres? ¿Qué quieres? Vete de aquí. Déjame en paz.
Now, if you could not tell, this was not Elias's first encounter with the paranormal world, and it would not be far-fetched to actually call him a regular victim. You can tell from the Ouija board alone that he has experimented with the world of ghosts previously, not to mention that his content has appeared on this channel in other episodes. In this specific video, some mysterious sounds were being broadcasted behind the door, and they were followed by the collapse of several cups within the room. It was blatantly obvious that the cause of these events were a spirit, and unfortunately, there was nothing that Elias could do about it. Suggest some ideas for him down below in the comments. Omar was a strong believer in Jesus Christ and Christianity as a whole, so it came as no surprise when he turned to the religion immediately after encountering spirits. The event happened on February the 5th of 2025, and Omar was doing an activity as simple as lying in bed. Suddenly, he heard something scraping against the ground, and the name of his dead grandfather was whispered down his ear, but the only evidence that he had of this was his own word. It was because of this that he quickly forged a cross to protect him, in case something else randomly happened, and soon enough, it did.
Plebes, son las 3 de la mañana, plebes. Escuché el ruido, plebes. ¿Hay alguien en la pura puerta de mi cuarto, plebes? No sé quién demonios sea, pero me está dando mucho miedo, plebes. Quise marcar a mi familia. El teléfono me sonaba como si no estuviera en línea. Espíritu Padre que estás en el cielo. Plebes, no mames, plebes. Se está meneando mi calentadora, plebes. No.
The radiator crawled across the floor towards Omar, and he was extremely lucky to have captured such a phenomenon on camera. The only downside to this video was the fact that the cross in which Omar was holding failed to frighten the spirit into leaving him alone, meaning that whatever he was facing must have been a fairly powerful demon, or perhaps just his grandfather, considering the whisper. Abdul has had several features on this channel before, and it is more than obvious at this point that whatever is haunting him is here to stay. It all started several weeks ago when he began to hear some odd noises from downstairs during the night, but ever since that moment, things have just continuously gotten far worse. Nowadays, he does random checkup videos, where he will take his phone out and film the entirety of his house in case something happens, and he has gained a heap of videos from this routine. The video that you are moments away from seeing is one of them. Take a look.
Se han estado escuchando ruidos en toda la casa y de alguna forma no sé si esté tratando de decirme algo de una forma más directa. Se escucha más aquí en la sala y en la recámara he tratado de dejar harina también en la sala, en las sillas, en todos lados porque ha habido más movimiento. Pero las campanas ya... ¡Ay, cabrón! Esto también es lo que quería decir, o sea, Cookie ha estado cambiando de posición en toda la recámara y... pues no sé a qué se deba. Solo ocurre en la recámara. Esto también ha estado sucediendo. Incluso dejé un poco de harina. Lo que es el asiento y... pero no lo puedo distinguir mucho. Voy a tratar de leer esta misma hoja con más calma en otro momento. Y bueno, los murmullos... Chinga. Me cerraron la ventana. Pero aquí se escuchan los murmullos y a ver, no pienso abrir la puerta en esta ocasión. Definitivamente no.
All around the house, weird stuff were happening, and in the life of Abdul, this was probably something that he would consider to be on the more light side of things. Usually, his spirit would launch items from across the room in his direction, but this time around, the worst that things got was the turning of a chair. Still scary for the average viewer, nonetheless though. Steve and his beloved wife were a happy couple for many years, and at one point it seemed as if no one or nothing would be able to pull them apart. No matter how many embarrassing things they did, or how many mistakes one of them made, they would always apologize and make up with each other, which was honestly really wholesome to see. However, there is one type of creature that holds the power to ruin things as powerful as love, and this is a poltergeist. Steve started to continuously hear knocking from doors all around the house when his wife was not in, and she thought that he was becoming a psychopath. It was because of this that she left the house and put it on Steve to fend for himself, who had a new ambition to prove the existence of something in the house. After putting motion sensors in the basement, he waited, and eventually, he was rewarded.
It's like 11 p.m. I just got out of the shower, about ready to go to bed, and this keeps going off. That's the motion detector in the crawl space. I am scared to death to watch the footage from the camera down there. But we gotta do it. I've been putting this off all day, but it's about to get dark soon, so we need to go down there. This is the last thing that I want to do, but I don't really have a choice. Okay, right over there is where I saw the thing. What was that?
This was a highly disturbing video, and after the footage was checked, Steve regretted his decision of taking action deeply. He would have rather not known that there was a literal demon hiding in his basement, and continued to hear knocking despite it slowly driving him insane. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and a time that many choose to refer to as the witching hour. The man recording the video was working alone in the small, dimly lit room. The stillness of the night surrounded him, and the soft glow of his screen illuminated the space. He had been working all night, getting lost in his boring task of guarding the facility, when suddenly the silence was abruptly broken. He heard running footsteps from somewhere down the hall, and presumably nearby to the stairs. His eyes darted toward the sound. It was odd. No one else was supposed to be in the building. Eager to find the source of the footsteps, he approached them and investigated. Surprisingly, though he found nothing, the footsteps stopped, leaving only the sound of his breathing. He shook his head, chalking it up to the late hour, but then something else. A soft moan echoed from down the hall. It was low, almost inhuman, and it sent a chill crawling up his spine. He froze, listening intently, waiting for something more, but everything went quiet again before the lights turned off. The man who captured both of these upcoming clips had the birth name of Ian, but his alias was the Midwest Ghost Hunter. This is because he traveled all the land of the Midwest in order to expose the true nature of paranormal activity, and this involved visiting a lot of well-known haunted landmarks. The place that Ian decided to explore in the video that you are about to be exposed to was a haunted manor of which the lore goes way too deep to explain. You don't need lore to understand that this place was beyond haunted though, and if you do not believe me, then take a look for yourself.
Got a K2 meter here. I'm gonna see if I can get any responses from Captain Jacob Colors' ghost. Captain Colors, are you here with me tonight? You were the owner of this building back when it was a hotel. They say that your spirit is still here. Is there any truth to that? If so, could you touch the green light? Is it okay that I'm here? Whoa. Whoa. Oh my God, that was a deep thump in this wall here. Is that a yes? Or is it a no? Ooh, that was weird. I don't know what to think of that. It definitely surprised me though. That was a loud thump. Thump in this wall. Oh God.
Whilst Ian was interrogating the framed image on the wall, looking for answers as to whether he still haunted the building, a large thump was heard from the wall behind it. This coincidentally came after he inquired for an answer, which led him to believe that this was the spirit's way of implying the answer, yes. This was backed up by a sighting just shortly after.
Are there any former residents still living here? Hello? Oh my God! Oh my God! There was somebody over there! Holy shit! I literally just saw a figure peek out of that room over there. It peeked out and it was looking right at me. Holy shit! Who are you? I just seen you. Could you peek out again? Okay, there's definitely somebody in there, which means I have to go check it out. Ooh, yay. Who's in?
Ian saw the figure of what was presumably a poltergeist peek around the corner of a hallway at him, and he was very taken aback by this, because if you know one thing about the paranormal, it should be that apparitions are extraordinarily rare. This was followed up by some mysterious noises that further confirmed the presence of an entity to Ian. The following video took place during mid-2022 and was a part of a large ghost hunt. A man called Ellis, alongside his partner Sylvia, were both fond of exploring haunted territory, and they often came across some interesting stuff. I chose this clip because of the importance of the location. The building was on the same street as the graveyard in which the father of Ellis had been buried after unfortunately passing away. Sylvia had always wanted to visit the place, but of course, since Ellis had his dead father nearby, he was not so keen, but she managed to convince him. This is a clip from their adventure.
¿Y qué puedo hacer? ¿No puedo abrir la puerta? ¿Sí la pude abrir, mira? ¿Sí la pude abrir, amigos? ¿Será? Si la pude abrir, amigos, me meteré. ¿No va? ¿Para qué va? Porque no va a ser que me regañen, va. Vamos a ver si nos podemos meter, amigos. Vamos a ver si nos podemos meter. ¿Hay alguien aquí adentro? ¡Uy! Cerraron la puerta, cerraron la puerta, cerraron la puerta, cerraron la puerta, cerraron la puerta. No me meto, madre. No me meto, no me meto. Amigos, cerraron la puerta, amigos, cerraron la puerta. ¿Quién eres? ¿Quién eres? ¿Quién eres? Se miró bien clarito, amigos. Como que alguien está aquí adentro. ¿Hay alguien ahí? Uy, Gary. ¡Mira, se volvió a abrir la puerta, Gary! Se volvió a abrir la puerta, ¿lo viste? ¿Hay alguien?
¿Alguien para acá?
Sí caminó alguien, sí caminó alguien, sí caminó alguien, sí caminó alguien.
Una sombra blanca, Alonzo.
¿Hay alguien aquí? ¿Qué es? Mira. ¿Lo viste? ¿Quieres que me meta? ¿Quieres que me meta? ¿Dónde estás? Me voy a meter. Me voy a meter. No me meto, no, ¿qué me voy a metiendo? ¿Qué me voy a andar metiendo?
Es que no te debes meter, Alonso, a la capilla.
Alguien está adentro, Clary. Alguien está adentro. Mira, ¿viste que se abrió y se cerró? ¿Quién eres?
They heard a lot of noises from the inside of this room, and that is what prompted Ellis to start recording the situation. When his phone came out, the haunting stopped for a brief moment, and he was actually ready to end the recording. But fortunately, the paranormal levels spiked again, and he gained his evidence of the situation, and more importantly, content. After capturing this, Ellis thought that he had gained enough content from the building and prompted Sylvia to head home with him. Beforehand though, he wanted to visit the local graveyard to give his father a visit, but little did he know that this graveyard also had high paranormal activity rates.
Vamos para acá. Yo sé que te encuentras aquí. Vamos, amigos, clientes compartidos, vamos a poner el Spirit Box, amigos, para ver dónde está esa mujer. Gracias, Adrián Pozos. Uy, que se cayó algo aquí. ¿Quién está aquí? Ay, Dios. ¿Hola? Uy, alguien venía, no manches. ¿Quién se encuentra en este lugar? John Herrán, gracias, Mata. Ay, Dios, se movió el vaso. Ay. Si estás aquí, manifiéstate, quiero verte. Quiero saber quién eres. Quiero que te manifiestes, estás aquí en este lugar. Miau. Ay, abajo se miró algo. Ay, abajo se miró algo, amigos. ¿Quién está hablando? No manches. ¿Estás aquí? Uy. ¿Estás aquí? ¿Aquí te encuentras? Vamos a poner Spirit Box, amigos. Vamos a poner Spirit Box. Bien.
The levels of paranoia were through the roof immediately after Ellis entered the graveyard, and he just had to take out his mobile camera again. This time he caught movements that were obviously not influenced by a visible force. Furthermore, it was not a windy night whatsoever, and was nowhere near windy enough to move objects. Paired with what he had seen in the building prior, Ellis was certain that this was a spirit, and assuming it was not his father, he left the site or as soon as he could. Lean loved being home alone, and he was not ashamed of the reasons why. Whilst he of course loved his wife to absolute pieces, something about being in the house all by himself was soothing to him, and nobody could change his mind. The lack of sound, the weight off from his shoulders, these were the times that he felt his most peaceful, but of course, spirits are not a fan of peace. In the video that you are about to be exposed to, Lean was relaxing in his bed, whilst no one else was in the household. He was content as ever, and was scrolling Instagram reels, but unfortunately, this peace had to come to an end. Have a watch.
Son 2:15 de la mañana. Estaba por contar que pasó una sombra caminando, sentí una presencia que pasó para el baño. Pasó una sombra para el baño, no sé si ir a revisar, se están cayendo las cosas acá. No sé si... Entró acá al baño, lo vi caminar, pero traspasó la puerta, es increíble. Muchos me dicen que grabe el espejo, pero no hay nada. No sé. Estoy grabando. Se escucha risa. ¿Qué es adentro? Es adentro. Ya acá se caen las cosas, ¿no? Ya no sé. Acá. No sé qué hacer, no. Se me está viendo opaco el celular. Se me está quedando como. Sin batería celular. No puedo grabar con. Es la concha de su madre. No puedo prender. No puedo prender el cel. No me deja prender el flash acá.
Things knocking over led him to his bathroom, where all sorts of objects were acting out of the ordinary. At the time, Lean was beyond confused, but happy to be capturing it on video, so that social media could help him out. The audience made him aware that it was a spirit that he was dealing with, and there was no other logical explanation to the situation, so he mindlessly followed their verdict, calling an exorcist to come and cleanse the area. The waiting time ended up being over 3 days, which was ridiculous in the eyes of Lean, but if he was asked to wait, then he didn't really have a choice. He was forced to put up with this poltergeist for another 72 hours at a minimum, and one more clip from his house surfaced during this time period.
Acabo de escuchar ruidos que vienen desde acá. Ahí lo acabo de grabar. No sé si lo grabé bien, pero se escuchó claro de acá. Vamos a abrir la caja musical. La concha, son. Y ese hijo de puta. No puedo prender flash. No puedo prender. Se prendió la casa. Se acaba de poner la caja musical de vuelta. Ahí pude prender flash. Se acaba de poner de vuelta la caja musical. La concha de su madre.
This time it happened in a storage extension room towards the side of his house, and things were far worse than the bathroom incident. This is because, as well as regular objects collapsing to the ground and taking an almost self-controlling state, the dancing doll started to spin, and we all know that anything doll-related coming across as haunted is on another level of spooky. It was due to this reason that Lean placed the dancing doll box into the trash and immediately took the bag to the skip, so he would never see it again. The exorcism also turned out to be a success. Lean loved being home alone, and he was not ashamed of the reasons why. Whilst he of course loved his wife to absolute pieces, something about being in the house all by himself was soothing to him, and nobody could change his mind. The lack of sound, the weight off from his shoulders, these were the times that he felt his most peaceful, but of course, spirits are not a fan of peace. In the video that you are about to be exposed to, Lean was relaxing in his bed, whilst no one else was in the household. He was content as ever, and was scrolling Instagram reels, but unfortunately, this peace had to come to an end. Have a watch. Things knocking over led him to his bathroom, where all sorts of objects were acting out of the ordinary. At the time, Lean was beyond confused, but happy to be capturing it on video, so that social media could help him out. The audience made him aware that it was a spirit that he was dealing with, and there was no other logical explanation to the situation, so he mindlessly followed their verdict, calling an exorcist to come and cleanse the area. The waiting time ended up being over 3 days, which was ridiculous in the eyes of Lean, but if he was asked to wait, then he didn't really have a choice. He was forced to put up with this poltergeist for another 72 hours at a minimum, and one more clip from his house surfaced during this time period.
No, qué sensación fea, boludo. Pero sentí escalofrío. Yo sí, calor. No, mira cómo ha quedado, boludo. La concha de su madre. Allá está. ¿Silbido? Yo no me animo a ir allá atrás. Te juro que siento gente, mucha carga energética, pero mucha carga. No gano hasta de llorar, les juro. ¡Ah, la mierda!
This time it happened in a storage extension room towards the side of his house, and things were far worse than the bathroom incident. This is because, as well as regular objects collapsing to the ground and taking an almost self-controlling state, the dancing doll started to spin, and we all know that anything doll-related coming across as haunted is on another level of spooky. It was due to this reason that Lean placed the dancing doll box into the trash and immediately took the bag to the skip so he would never see it again. The exorcism also turned out to be a success. One of the rarest things that we manage to catch spirits doing is getting physical with their victims, and when this happens, it truly is terrifying. It's enough not being able to see something that is emotionally tormenting you, but when you can't see something that is physically handling you, that is on another level of horrifying. The upcoming clip mixed this horror with the prospect of the haunting happening to a child, which just added to the severity of it all. If you get triggered by children being involved in paranormal activity, then brace yourself. It seemed that the poltergeist gripped the child by the ankles and dragged him towards the door before he had full control again. The way the child glided across the floor made this impossible to stage. And trust me, I like to catch a fake ghost video, so the fact that I believe in this one says a lot. Poor child. When you receive a camera motion detected notification whilst everybody is in bed, it can mean one of two things. Either the cat is up to no good, or something bad is happening and you have to check it instantly. Deciding to presume the latter was the case, the husband of a family decided to open his camera app, and what he saw was shocking. At first, he believed that their daughter was messing with the lights at 12 a.m. and was ready to give her a telling off. But after being convinced by his wife to analyze the footage, he did, and they both found out something bizarre. If you zoom in, you will see a bright-looking face, shortly followed by a pair of legs that step forward and then appear to disappear. After questioning their daughter, she claimed that she was in bed by 12 in the morning and they believed her, considering they usually hear her when she opens her creaky door to leave the room. Chances are she couldn't have snuck out, meaning that this was on a high-odds stake of being a spirit. The Midwest Ghost Hunter is a name that you have probably heard come up on this channel before, if you're a regular, and this is because of how many spiritual clips he has actually been able to obtain. With the sheer amount of haunted places that he visits, he is bound to gather a lot of interesting content, and it was no different in the video that I am going to be showcasing some clips from to you. The place in question was an abandoned sanatorium, and unlike most high-production paranormal channels, he went into this place with absolutely no one. No camera crew, no experts, and most importantly, no friends. How did this go? Well, have a watch.
Hello? Is there anyone up here? I keep hearing strange sounds up here. Who's up here? I'm getting the creeps already. The sounds came from this side. Hello? Oh, okay, I'm hearing more noises. If that was you, could you make another sound? This is one of the rooms. One of the rooms I was hearing the noises. Are there any patients in here? Whisper somewhere in here. Hello? Who's in here with me? Could you tell me your name?
As you can see, it didn't take long for the ghost hunter to realize this was going to be a successful hunt, and that he certainly wasn't going to go ghostless for this entire journey, which has happened to him before in the past. This clip happened just 4 minutes after he entered the vicinity, which was very abrupt, and bear in mind, the first 4 minutes before this were full of sounds anyways, so the spirit was definitely trying to fulfill its role of scaring the man. Of course, being a professional ghost hunter, though he was nowhere near phased enough to abandon the mission, so continued to go. It was at the point that he started to use real equipment that the real juicy clips started to rise, though.
Oh, come Come on, Ian. Let's go towards him. I'm coming towards you. Whoever or whatever's up here is giving me a creepy vibe. I wonder what would happen if I ran the spirit box right now. I think I'm gonna try it. Who's walking down this hallway? Doctor! It just said doctor! Doctor who? Say that one more time. The doorknob. Just grip that doorknob. Holy shit. Something gripped this doorknob. What the heck? I heard that. Did you just grip this doorknob? What the? Oh shit. I just felt like a force. It like pushed me to the side. I didn't feel anything, but it was like a force. It was like a force like pushing me this way, but I didn't feel anything touching me. That was so freaking bizarre.
After taking out the ghost box, some form of paranormal entity communications device, it said that the spirit in the hallway was a doctor, but this was not the concerning part. Shortly after this statement, it said no visitors, which indicated that the spirits were far from happy in his presence, and unfortunately, he did not hear it, which led to this final incident.
Man, they just keep coming. Oh, God. There's definitely somebody up here with me. What kind of spirit would haunt an attic in an old hospital? Something not good, right? What? Dude! Am I going crazy or did that just move? No fucking way! You see that? It was up against that wall. Those beams. Who moved this box? Thank you, whoever you are. How in the world do you explain that?
None of the clips so far had been physical movements, so it made a drastic change to the hunter when the box moved, because his analysis on the spirit's type would have shifted heavily. This is probably why he appeared to be frightened with such a huge reaction, because I assure you, with his experience, he was far from scared. Funerals are when you manage to capture people at their lowest points, and this is because these events are very depressing. Losing a loved one is mentally scarring for everybody, and hence why nobody is in a good mood at these events, but at least the majority are not haunted. The only thing that is worse than a funeral is a haunted one, and the attendees of the funeral that this clip came from would agree with this. Have a watch.
Oh,
The white balloon started to drift towards the wife of the man who died, and she almost sensed that it was her husband doing this. While the majority of the people at the funeral were given the creeps by this incident, she held the balloon close, knowing that it was likely her husband of 20 years, saying his final goodbyes. This would be why she broke down into even more tears. The following video took place very early in the morning at a convenience store that had absolutely no business being haunted. It was a super irrelevant store, and no form of spiritual events had ever been recorded there, making it the last place a gambler would put their money on being haunted. However, despite the odds being low, they were not at zero, and one day, while 2 members of staff were preparing to open the store for the day, they experienced this.
Nos encontramos aquí en mi trabajo. Al fondo se observa una cámara de refrigeración donde parte de la tarde se han estado abriendo y cerrando solitas las puertas. Hay momentos que se calma, pero de repente empiezan otra vez a abrirse y cerrarse. Me voy a mover para allá para ver de cerca a ver qué pasa. Nos vamos acercando a la cámara. Jorgito es uno de mis compañeros de aquí de trabajo. ¿Qué pasó, hijo? ¿Qué se cayó? Vean. Vean, ahí ya empezaron a abrirse también. Vean, observen. Híjole. Vamos a tratar de no acercarnos, Jorgito, porque... Vean cómo se están abriendo las puertas. Vamos a ver de aquel lado. Ahí se ve cómo se están abriendo y cerrando. Toda la tarde estaba pasando esto, e inclusive ya hay gente que se dio cuenta, clientes. Y híjole, la verdad sí es un poco temeroso. Ya le hablé a mi supervisor para que, vean, ya le hablé a mi supervisor para que viniera a ver esto que está pasando. No me cree, pero digo, quedó de venir, hasta ahorita no ha venido. Y no nos hemos atrevido a ir a la parte de atrás en la cámara porque pues nos da un poco de temor, ¿no? Porque pues esto es algo sobrenatural. Pero vamos, Jorgito, allá atrás a ver qué pasa. Vean. Vamos a ver qué pasa. Vamos a arriesgarnos a ir. Vamos a arriesgarnos porque a ver qué pasa. Esta es la parte de la entrada de la cámara. Vamos a ver qué pasa. O sea, ahora sí que... Dijo, no sé si oyeron. Jorgito, ve a ver, hijo. Mira. ¿Sí? Veamos qué pasa.
Strangely, the refrigerator doors continued to open and close themselves whilst they were being filmed, and it was almost as if they had a mind of their own. The 2 members of staff were freaked out by this for obvious reasons, and immediately alerted their manager over text message. Unfortunately, their manager did not take this quote, excuse, and demanded that they continue working for the day or they would be fired from the job. Was the boss in the wrong? Let me know in the comments. Alonzo was a well-known ghost hunter within his community, and almost everybody came to him when they had a problem regarding the spiritual world. With his strong portfolio and muscular build, nobody could say no to him and his services. But one day, a mission got a little bit too difficult for his liking. It took place on a Sunday, and he was being paid extremely high money to work this day. It was immediately after entering the supposedly haunted vicinity that he caught this phenomenon on camera.
Vitoriano, saludos. Carolina. ¡Ay, no madre! ¡Uy, qué fue eso! Perdón, amigos, grité como mujer. Grité como mujer. ¿Hay alguien ahí? Buenas noches. Grité como mujer, amigos. Buenas noches. ¿Quién eres? ¿Hay alguien? ¿Hay alguien ahí? Buenas noches. ¿Qué fue eso? Uy, 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 uy. No mames, no hay nadie. ¿Hay alguien? ¿Hay alguien? No hay nadie aquí. Se me desenfocó.
It was very clear that some sort of spirit was behind the door, and anybody in their right minds would agree with me on that statement. This was the first telltale sign that what Alonzo was dealing with was in fact a real threat, and he should approach the rest of the task with caution. Subscribe to the channel, as this was only one clip from a long mission made by Alonzo, and his story will be further developed in our next video. Similar to another clip in this video, our next video was captured by somebody working in a store, except this time it was the manager who experienced the event. The time was 10 at night, and he had come to the store to make sure that the cleaning staff had done their job on his weekly checkup that came on a random day to attempt to catch them out if they were slacking. The cleaners did a decent job, but there were some critiques that the manager managed to pick out, and he was about to call his staff members and explain it to them. Little did he know that he was not going to be able to do that.
Ya. ¿Qué hora es? Van a ser 10 para las 2. Y algo me tiene intrigado. Iremos a grabar. Carrito me estaba molestando harto rato y de verdad que no sé si es verdad lo que me dicen de acá. No sé qué onda. Vamos a hacérnoslo. Hay algo sí que me molesta. Conchetumare. Oh. Bacán.
At the very end of the clip, the shopping cart moved on its own accord, which was disturbing to say the least. It was obvious that no visible force was acting upon the shopping cart, so whatever caused this must have not been visible to the human eye, leading me to believe it was an external entity, also known as a spirit. The following incident took place on an ordinary Tuesday evening in a small apartment building that had no reputation for being haunted. It was the kind of place where nothing out of the ordinary ever happened. No spooky rumors, no strange noises in the middle of the night, and certainly no tales of ghostly apparitions. In short, it was the last place anyone would expect something supernatural to occur. But as the old saying goes, never say never. Zach, a laid-back guy who preferred to unwind in his room after a long day, was minding his business when all of a sudden this happened.
Oh, fucking hella trash. But that's no reason for fucking shit to. That's no reason for to occur. You fucking douchebag. You fucking dumbass. Bro, chill. Easily explainable. Maybe I knocked down your shit. There was a whole situation where I moved. Where I moved your fucking.
Suddenly, a few items fell from the kitchen counter right in front of his very eyes. Startled, Zach sat up straight. He turned his head towards the items cautiously and knew that something was up. It was obvious that no items were acting upon the countered property. A purple snap is a feature on Snapchat that refers to a user sending a video to one of their friends. These are very useful for sending short and quirky videos to people in search of a quick laugh or an awe, and this is all Roger wanted to do. He was home alone and texting a girl, so he thought that it would be a good idea for him to start filming his dogs doing tricks before giving them each a treat to spark some more conversation. Now, on a surface level, there was absolutely nothing wrong with this idea, and nothing could have gone wrong. But of course, you're watching a haunter video, so something terrible must have happened. Take a look for yourself.
Sit. Good girls. Pow! Pow! Whatever. Let me get you a treat. Alright, wait. There it is. There you go. That was weird. Okay.
The drawer took it upon itself to open whilst Roger was in the room, and this sent him into a state of utter and complete shock. He quickly saved the snap to his camera roll and planned to upload it to YouTube, which is how I actually managed to get my hands on it. It is an unexplainable clip, and I cannot think of any way in which he could have made it up, but of course feel free to prove me wrong in the comments section. After uploading the footage to YouTube, Roger expected nothing more than a few likes and a bit of advice, but when little to nothing came from it, and nobody helped him out, he lost all sense of hope. Fortunately, the spirit had not made a second appearance, and it seemed to be a one-time instance. But just as this thought came to his head, this clip was taken. Afterwards, Roger decided that he was not going to tolerate this poltergeist for any longer and dialed a friend of a friend who happened to be a ghost hunter. They are currently in the process of cleansing the house of all demons, and we can only hope that Roger is okay soon. Leaving your house and becoming independent can be a difficult time for everybody, and it is pretty obvious as to why. The change from having your parents do everything for you to becoming completely self-reliant is super overwhelming, and this was the case for the young Russian man in our next video. He had only recently moved out into his own home, and was rather confident about the switch of lifestyle. Perhaps he should have been more cautious though, because what actually went down whilst he was alone was not nice at all. Just 3 days in, this was recorded. All around his new home, things started to happen, and I bet he wished he had his mother's shoulder to cry on. He actually called his parents and asked to move back in to recover from this stressful experience, to which they fortunately took him in. I mean, fortunately. James is one of our victims who knew that his house was haunted before recording his clip, but this did not stop him from getting frightened by the situation. The weird thing about James's story is that he purchased his property with the full knowledge of its haunted state, and here's why. He was in a very poor financial position and had to seek a small property. However, he was more of a spacious kind of guy, so searched for some potential bargains online, and soon enough, he found one. A pretty big home with a price as small as a terraced house, but the catch was, it was haunted, and it was not long until he experienced it firsthand.
We have come alive. These are accent pieces that are not meant to go unnoticed into the decor.
Alright guys, this is the place I stay. For the last 2 days I'm hearing things around. I'm really not sure what is it. Okay. Let's find it out. I always feel something here. Something around, man. Seriously. You know, like the footsteps or something. Always. Always I hear that. Did you hear that? Oh my god. Oh my god, man. Oh shit, look at the face on the pillow. Oh, what the fuck, man. Whoa. Let's move on.
He walked around the house whilst filming to see if anything would happen, and for a while, none of the spirits seemed to entertain his antics. However, towards the end, a nice-looking chair moved on its own accord, confirming to James that he had not bought a property that would be easy to live in. We can only pray that he is able to cope in the future. 11 years ago today, Ronnie Jewett discovered that the attic in his house was haunted, and he has not been the same since. He was a member of a relatively normal family, and whilst they did all find him to be on the more weird side of things, he was nowhere near weird, to the extent that he would be expected to be haunted. Ronnie didn't believe in any sort of religious or spiritual creatures, and had an "I'll believe it if I see it" mentality. Well, in this short video, he did see it, and he was very close to believing it.
Okay. Alright. See, I have no strings or nothing. This box of a fan keeps fucking moving on its own. No, I have I don't see how I would have strings attached anywhere. I'm holding the camera with my other hand, so... Oh my god!
After this scenario, Ronnie tried to come up with all sorts of silly reasons as to why this was not caused by a spirit, but despite his efforts, nothing that exited his mouth was logical. He went as far as blaming rats in the attic for moving and causing vibrations that moved the box. But let's be real, that's a bit of a stretch. You and I both know that Ronnie experienced the paranormal, and the sooner he believes it is, the sooner he solves all of this. In the following video, a man who had been haunted for many years had decided that enough was enough and was going to perform an exorcism. The thing was that he was completely uneducated in this field, but thought that the sole belief in God that he had would be enough to enhance his skills. Unfortunately, knowing how to read a holy scripture and say your God's name was not enough for the man to banish the spirit from his home, and above all, just made everything worse.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, te pido, Señor, que me proteja en el nombre del Padre, Hijo y Espíritu Santo. Hoy quiero leer este salmo. Thus says the Lord, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. I am the Lord of the God, who teaches you the prophet, who leads you by the way you should go. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I command you to take these demons out of the house. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I ask you to leave my house, please. I command you to leave the house in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I am reading the Father's prayers. Leave this house now. Leave in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I command you to leave right now. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
The fact that this ritual was supposed to make the spirit leave this household is beyond crazy, because that is nowhere near what it did. The words of the man did nothing but aggravate it, causing screaming and a huge paranormal surge. Not to mention the fact that the cross flipped upside down, which confirmed that this was the cause of a demon, likely why it was angry when the scripture was read. Moving into a new house can be one of the most stressful periods in a person's life, and there are many factors that play into this. One of the biggest factors, especially when relocating to somewhere far away, is whether or not it is the right move for you. And I doubt that this is the case if you were to find out your new home was inhabited by the paranormal. Unfortunately, the father in the following video, called Clay, was home alone with his daughter in the new house alone, and he noticed something weird. Have a watch.
Hey guys, I just wanted to show you something. I just moved into a new house, and some weird things have been happening. Here, just let me show you. Pardon the mess. It's a little bit of a disaster because, like I said, we just moved in. But anyways, right here, I just want to show you my daughter is sleeping. Okay? Now watch. Here, this back room is where it gets weird. Just listen to this. Look at my cat reacting. Nope, not doing it. Hang on. She's still right here. I can't do this.
For some mysterious and unknown reason, the voice of his daughter could be heard coming from inside a random room, and Clay made it very evident that the child was not in this room. The poltergeist he had come across was clearly a mimic, which is an entity that can copy the voice of anything with ease in order to manipulate and scare its victims. Clay and his wife are currently in the process of banishing the spirit and are in negotiations with a local ghost hunter. Feel free to wish them luck in the comments. A woman in the Netherlands had recently moved to a new apartment in hopes of seeking a fresh start due to her old place of residence being haunted. In most cases, leaving a haunted house leads to the person never experiencing something paranormal ever again. But in a minority of cases, this is not what happens. That is because a ghost can be attached to a person as well as a property, and in the situations where the spirit follows them to their new home, it is because it is with the person. Anyways, this happened to the woman in this video.
Dat lichtknipper er weer aan en uit in de hal. Oh, in het nieuwe huis. Dat. Oh, ik durf niet. Oh, ik durf niet. Verdorie. Helemaal klaar mee. Oh. Oh. Ik durf echt niet. Donder op, ik ga er niet naartoe. Ik bel wel iemand.
She had heard some noises coming from behind the door with the flashing lights and took it upon herself to go and investigate rather than stay in the room and not find out the source. To her dismay, there was nothing causing the sounds, and she realized that this may have been the worst possible outcome. Her ghost had followed her. When the sound was followed up by a swinging light and an apparition, she knew that her theory was confirmed and wanted to try a way other than moving house to solve the issue. In order to save money and not pay a ghost hunter, she is currently talking to a priest and prays that she will see a day without a demon beside her. On September the 10th of 2024, something was captured on a street-side camera that made most people question their sanity. The specific time was around 9 p.m., and the only reason that the camera was checked by the local forces was because an incident had happened on the street that night. There were 5 witnesses, but that was not enough when there was a literal camera on site. Well, what if I told you the police got the witness count wrong and missed one?
Perhatikan bayangan di pojok kiri.
If you look closely, there was clearly a spirit in the middle of the road, but what it was doing is beyond me. The reason we know it was a spirit rather than a shadow casting was because it was standing still the entire time, and none of the humans in the area were idle. Furthermore, the way in which it fled the scene was ghost-like as it drifted down the road, but I guess we will never know for sure if a poltergeist is what this camera caught. Gemma was visiting a group of her friends who lived in another part of Portugal that they did. She was fortunately allowed to stay in her best friend Megan's house for her stay, which prevented her from having to fork out the money for a hotel, and this is what really allowed her to go on such an adventure. There was something that Megan hid from Gemma that might have led to her cancelling the entire trip, and this information was that the house was haunted and the moment that Gemma found out what was caught on camera.
It's me. I'm getting ready to say goodbye. I'm going back to Florida.
Did you see that?
Oh my god.
Did you see that?
Oh my gosh.
Happening here.
What the heck was that? And there's nothing here.
So sometimes these things open like by themselves and it's, oh my gosh, you gotta see this.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm scared.
Fortunately, Gemma was leaving the city the next morning anyway, hence why she was sending a goodbye message at the beginning, but she had no clue what the video would entail. From a running child to a drawer opening by itself, it was horrifying for Gemma, and even managed to insert fear into Megan, who was meant to be used to all of this. In many of our recent videos, we have included a clip from a ghost hunter known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter, but his real name is Ian. In all of these videos, he has been exploring the exact same place, a haunted manor, and we are finally nearing the end of this exploration. Every piece of content that came from this search has been amazing, and this one that you are about to watch, filmed after a spirit turned the lights on, even gave Ian a spook. Take a look.
Holy crap, that's a shock to the system. I've been walking around the dark for hours. Susie, did you just turn this light on? I took it off the infrared just to show you guys what I'm seeing right now. I can see a lot better now, so thank you for turning the light. Oh, I can't see. Oh my god, I am getting really freaked out in here. Jeez Louise, it's almost like she's toying with me. Are you having fun messing with me? It's okay if you are, I mean, that's why I'm here. So thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
For some reason, just moments are turning the lights on. Susie, the spirit in question, turned them off again in an attempt to frighten Ian. The attempt was a success, and he was left terrified, just like you should be left terrified for my next video, because a video from Ian will appear again. Subscribe so you don't miss it. The following video was captured by Elias Samuel, a young man who had only just got a grasp of living by himself. He had always dreamt of leaving his parents' consistent company because they were extremely strict and had a close monitor on him, but 2 weeks into being alone, he wished he had them helping him again. Have a look.
He tratado de acomodarlo ahí mejor, sí. Como les digo, no es por adorarlo o algo así, sino simplemente para tenerlo, ya que ahí pues no se veía muy bien, ¿verdad? No, no puede ser, otra vez. ¿Vieron eso, amigos? A esto me refería. Bien, esto es lo que yo me refiero a lo que les he estado comentando ahorita precisamente. Pero amigo, Dan, Pierre, como les dije, para mí el dinero no es lo más importante, ya que puedo tenerlo a mi alcance, ¿sí? La mayoría de la gente es lo que piensa primero.
Strangely, something fell off from the cabinet, and Elias was very fortunate to have caught this phenomenon live on camera. He planned to send the videos to his parents to see what they thought he should do, but realized that would be a chance for them to call him a hypocrite after saying he was excited to look after himself. It was because of this that he made the independent decision to take the Ouija board out, and he stood in front of it for a good 10 seconds, deciding whether it was a smart idea before this happened.
Eso se acaba de caer y la verdad sí, no sé si todo esto pues esté yo haciendo mal, ¿verdad? Por estar transmitiendo esto a ustedes, ya que pues ustedes son unas personas ya, digamos, inocentes a todo este tipo de cosas. No creo que tampoco quiero dañarlos o algo así, ¿me entiendes? Puta madre. Perdón, amigo, por el vocabulario. No mames, cabrón. Qué pinche miedo. No, la verga. No, creo que voy a tener que dejar de transmitir porque no es bueno esto. No se vaya a salir. Qué pinche miedo, cabrón.
The board, alongside everything around it, collapsed to the ground in an aggressive fashion, and poor Elias had no clue what to do next. He left his house and went to his grandma's for quite some time, but this is the last that we heard of this story. Carlos is a man who has appeared on this channel several times now, and I think it is time to call him a regular. He appears so much because he is more than aware that his house is haunted and is on the mission to obtain as much evidence as possible to prove this, so he is literally always recording. The video that I am about to show to you took place upstairs, and he was doing one of his routine checkups, where he would film until something actually happened, and this time, something came about far quicker than usual.
Hola amigos de TikTok. Al parecer se fue la luz en toda la colonia Amixes. O sea, vean, literalmente no hay nada de luz alrededor, más que hasta allá se ven unos puntitos. Empecé a grabar porque se empezaron a escuchar ruidos, como siempre. Se escucha algo.
In the room across from him, some sort of object next to the ring light fell to the floor with an inexplicable amount of power. It was blatantly obvious that nothing was attached to the item and no visible force had acted upon it, and due to the history of Carlos's house, it was obvious that the cause of this came from the spiritual world. Abdul knows and has known the situation in his household for a long time, and it is far from a good one. Despite having no prior belief in a spiritual world that could connect to the regular world at will, his house had ended up being haunted, and this was extremely odd to both him and experts. It is very rare that people who do not believe in ghosts to become a consistent victim of ghosts, but for Abdul, this is not the case. And it is safe to say that he is a believer now, and the clip that is following is going to show you exactly why this is the case.
Voy a grabar en vivo. Son las 8:14 de la noche y solamente voy a dejar grabando con mi flash la cámara frontal y voy a apagar la televisión. Bueno, parece que ya está comenzando a grabar en vivo. Bueno, ahorita 26 de agosto, ya siendo de noche, pues voy a comenzar a grabar en vivo, y a sugerencia de muchos de ustedes que me lo pidieron, pues también estoy aquí colocando la harina. Voy a cerrar la puerta un momento. Aquí vamos. ¡Hola! Hola. Necesito hablar contigo. Necesito hablar contigo. Ya me voy, ¿eh? Hace un frío horrible. Hace demasiado frío. Madre. Déjame salir. Chingados. Las campanas se están moviendo. Esto parece una pesadilla. Una maldita pesadilla. No comprendo. No entiendo. Uy. De verdad, estoy muriendo de frío. No.
All around the house, all sorts of things were happening, and I would like to highlight some of the creepiest. To begin, the fact that the door started banging heavily back, and when Abdul walked in, the boxing punching bag was moving, said a lot about the spirit that he was dealing with. Furthermore, the poltergeist was incredibly strong because it was able to hold the door closed whilst Abdul was attempting to open it, and it is not a common occurrence where a ghost can out-physicalize a human. After this instance, Abdul's house almost instantly went back to normal, as it usually did after a paranormal surge, but it was clear that his dog was still uneasy. It walked around the house sniffing almost everything it could, and it could not get enough of the chair that the big stuffed animal was sitting on. For hours it stayed in the room, and Abdul tried all sorts of incentives, including treats, to encourage it to leave, but none of them worked. It was moments later that Abdul found out why it was so intriguing. Have a watch.
Yo he estado jugando mucho tiempo con Wii, pues Parece ser que se divierte con él. ¿Qué pasó, Milo? ¿Vas a jugar con Googie? Vente, Milo. Ven. Vámonos. Ven. Vente. Ven.
When the dog turned away from the stuffed animal to come and give Abdul a greeting as he had just re-entered the room, the teddy bear slowly moved its head until it was looking directly at the hound. This was inexplicable, and clearly nothing visible had caused it, so this event remained a mystery. The man in the following video had purchased a doll for his daughter at a local garage sale, and the last thing he expected was for it to be haunted. It was priced at a decent cost, coming in at $8, and not a single part of it was damaged. Furthermore, the woman selling it appeared kind-hearted and charitable, making it unexpected for her to sell a doll that she knew to be haunted to another family. Regardless, she had done so, and it did not take long for the man to realize the doll was far from normal, but he needed some proof. He tied the doll in chains with a padlock to make sure it could not break free, and placed it in front of a Ouija board for some interrogation, but it was not up for this, and made that clear.
Banda, pues este es mi estudio. Acá en este cuarto es donde pasan cosas paranormales, cosas muy extrañas. Como pueden ver, acá tengo a mi tabla, siempre con mucho respeto. Él es Charlie, tengo un video entero, un podcast entero de él, porque tiene una historia muy buena. El fondo es de Art, me disfracé de él. Y el fondo pues, es Freddy, como pueden ver. Como pueden ver, estoy solo y esto pasa a cada rato. Quiero que vean que no hay nadie. Quiero que vean que debajo de la mesa no hay nadie. Quiero que vean que no hay ningún hilo, que no hay ningún corte. Esto pasa seguido. Quiero que en verdad noten que no hay corte, que no hay hilo, que no hay nada abajo de la mesa. Esto se está volviendo normal para mí. Está encadenado y tiene su agua bendita. Cada 3 meses se tiene que hacer unos rezos y bendecirlo. Quiero aclarar algo, no es por la tabla. Entonces voy a cortar este video y luego les enseño todo lo que tengo.
Before the man could even ask the doll, or the spirit controlling the doll, any questions, it moved its head to face away from the Ouija board, making it clear that it did not want anything to do with the questioning. If it was not binded to chains, then who knows what its real reaction would have been, but due to this, we know that it would have certainly taken its chance to try to escape. The worst part about a spiritual presence is that they cause all sorts of disturbances, and it gets to a point where it isn't the fear factor that makes you dislike the situation, rather, it's the inconveniences. This was the case for Steve and his wife, who were both going through it when it came to their poltergeist, and it was doing its absolute hardest to make all sense of peace leave their house completely.
Hello? Whoa. It all started inside this closet and below the house in this crawl space, but has since moved all around the house. We go again? And nothing. And has even started to get really aggressive. Jesus. It's gotten so bad that Kristen decided to leave temporarily.
I love you.
Love you too.
Not only did it continue to knock on every single door in the household, but it also closed them by itself, making this spirit a definitive menace to society. Things got so bad that the wife of Steve felt she had to leave the house to get any peace, and this sparked his motivation to make a change. When part 2 is uploaded, we will include it in a future Haunter video, so subscribe. Ian, known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter on all of his social media accounts, is a full-time and professional ghost hunter who uploads his findings onto YouTube, where he makes a decent living. From places you would least expect to be haunted to the most obvious places on the planet, Ian has explored them, and the findings that I am about to expose you to came from an abandoned sanatorium, of which you would definitely expect to be on the haunted side of things.
Hello? Is anybody down here? Whoa. You see that? It's a ball. And it's perfectly placed right in that doorway. That's weird, isn't it? Did you put this ball here? They say that a child has been heard running down this hallway. Is that you that they're hearing? Why don't you tell me your name? My name is Ian. If you're in here, could you move this ball? Holy! That was loud. Okay. Thank you for making that noise. Scary noise at that. Could you make another sound? Oh my god, this kid is aggressive. What the hell? Is it even a kid at all? I don't know. That sounded like a kid. Where did that come from? This room? In here? I don't know, but it sounded high pitch. High pitch like a child. Go!
It was said that a child haunted this section of the building, and after hearing some mysterious and aggressive noises, Ian was beginning to doubt whether this was a child at all. However, just after making this inquiry, vocal, a child's voice could be heard from further down the corridor, as if it was trying to confirm to Ian that it was a kid. At the end of the corridor, as the exit to get out of the sanatorium, Ian came to terms with leaving the place. He had gathered a lot of YouTube content, and it was more than enough to garner a good view count, but the child made it known quickly that it did not want him to leave.
It's gone quiet down here, so I think I might call it a night and just leave a camera down here for the rest of the night. Because right when I was talking about leaving too, what the hell? I guess they don't want me to leave. Well, let's investigate some more. Are you down here? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I just saw a shadow over there. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse, but damn. It was short, like a kid. Holy moly. I don't want to frighten you. In reality, you're frightening me. Hey, do you want to be friends? Don't you get lonely down here? I'd be scared to be down here if I was a kid. Hell no. Where are you right now? Make a noise where you are. Got a weird feeling in this room. Oh shit! Holy shit! That was a shadow. That was a shadow. This just passed right by my camera. Holy.
Not only did it close off the exit, but it cast a shadow for Ian to see, which was clearly meant to frighten him more. The shadow was clearly that of a child and did its job of spooking out even the most experienced of ghost hunters, forcing him to flee the facility.